Hello, Chris here from Preussen Studios. Hope y'all been doing well. I've been working on a few things. Today we're going to look at dyeing. And not literally dyeing, but actually coloring leather. We're going to turn that sheet that we built on our last video segment into a brown colored sheath. Should look real nice when we get through with it. Our basic goal is to, of course, cover as much as we can. As y'all can remember, this is the sheet that we've been working on for a little bit. What we're going to do is remove the dowel, remove the belt, and here is the sheath. Sanded and looking decent. As you can see, it's shaped. It's got that sound to it. So it's ready to go. Just going to move this down here where we can get a good view at it. Type of leather dye that I use is usually EcoFlow. It's a decent dye, really good dye. There's other brands out there too. EcoFlow makes some smaller ones, and there's a few other people that make different types of dyes, but I have the best luck with EcoFlow, so I stick with what works typically. This time we're going to use a saddle brown. Saddle brown is a really nice color. I think it'll go really well with this light color that we have in here. So, we're going to uncap the saddle brown. And this stuff comes out of there, it's pretty sticky. Now this will dye anything that it touches, including your skin. So if you don't mind dyeing your skin different colors and it stays for a long time, then use it without gloves. But I definitely encourage the use of gloves and protective equipment when you're working with any type of chemicals, just for safety purposes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off by giving ourselves a good coating of this dye on this glove. Now, I coat my finger like this because I'm going to put it on the inside of this sheath, like so. The reason being is because a lot of people look inside the sheath, and that'd be the first place that they sit there and can see when you pull your knife out. So you want to get a good even coating on the entire inside. As you can see, coated the back part where the rivet is and everything. The next thing we're going to do is give it a standard coating. And I do that actually by rubbing it in. You rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. This leather is dry, so it's going to soak it up like a sponge. If you're going to need more, put some more in really quickly, because once it dries on the leather, it's pretty much there forever. If it dries in a particular type of stain or a pattern, it's going to be there forever. You can't undo it. But you want to massage the leather. You want to massage the dye into the leather. And the reason being is you want it to go in these stitches. You want it to go in the holes and the rivets, anywhere that it might appear to be a different color. Take that for example, if you can see, behind the belt loop. When somebody puts this on, they're going to be able to see behind it. So we want to sit there and coat all of this. My old art teacher used to say, any place that you leave a space is called a holiday, because it's like you're taking a holiday. But we don't want to leave any holidays behind. We want to make a good product for our customers. So when we do that, we want to coat everything that we can. Now the leather dye does cost some, but I think it does an excellent job. Just an excellent job. So once we've given this thing a good even coat and you've given it a good looking over to make sure all your stitch holes, all the rivets, all the hidden little areas have got good coverage, then you want to give it a good smoothing over. Remember, the pattern's going to turn out just like that. If you've got a stain in the middle of it like that, it will stay there. So you want to make sure that you rub that in to get it all flat and an even color. Give it a good looking over, and this thing will literally dry in probably less than about 5 minutes. It does not take long for this leather dye to dry. And I mean, when it dries, it dries. You want to sit there and kind of give it a little bit of fanning, a little bit of air. And as you can see, it's got a really nice uniform coating, really nice coverage. Now this is chrome leather. On Vegetan leather, sometimes you have to use a little bit more dye, because Vegetan leather doesn't naturally have a dye into it. Vegetan is this tan colored leather. This stuff right here, and you can tell because it looks like a real dryness on the back. It has that traditional sound, that leather sound. This is a preferred leather. There's nothing wrong with using chrome leather, chrome tanned leather, but vegetan leather a lot of times is easier to work with. It's definitely easier to stamp into, no doubt. Next thing we're going to go up with is a nice edge coat. For this, you got to shake this stuff up. This is Phoebe's edge coat in a brown. We could go on here with a black. In fact, let's do a black. Traditionally, I like, when the sheath is black, I like to use brown. When the sheath is brown, I like to use black. Contradicting colors sometimes look really good. And so this is a black edge dye. Now this stuff, you got to follow the same rules that you do on the other stuff. If it gets on your skin, it will dye your skin whatever color the dye is. So you've got to be real careful when handling it. It's some really, really, really sticky stuff. No matter how much you wipe it off, it's on you. So, we're going to get my gloves back out. The gloves are just more or less just to hold it in place. They're really not going to do other work than that. And gloves will dry pretty quick too. Make sure that we get the gloves nice and open. And we're going to take a cotton dauber. When I say cotton dauber, this is what I'm talking about. It's just like a little cotton tip Q-tip, like a gigantic Q-tip. And what we're going to do is we're going to run it inside the edge coating. The edge coating is different than the dye. It's a lot thicker, a whole lot thicker, and it dries really fast and really thick. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this edge coating right along the edge here. And what that's going to do is that's going to seal in that edge. We're going to make sure that it's got a nice even coat. Like I said, this stuff dries really, really quick too. It's okay if you go a little bit over the edge. It's not going to hurt anything. It gives it a really nice even coating. You could even, if you wanted to, go around the rim. Like right inside of here. Takes a little bit of practice to get in there, especially those tiny little areas. But you want to make sure that you get a good even coating on there, just like that. Now we're going to set this up to dry. Shouldn't take it too long to dry. I like to sit there and scrape off what I don't use back into here. Let's face it, we pay money for this stuff. And what I'll do with this, and since the dauber is used, you can't really reuse the daubers. The daubers are a one-time use thing. There's a lot of people that try to clean them out and use them again. I don't, because they are very disposable, they're very cheap. But what I will do is I'll take this dauber and I'll cut it off right about here. And when I cut them off, they look like this. They look like little wires once they're cut off. But what I'll do is I'll take this wire and I'll stretch this part of it out and give it a little bend. And voila, I've got a hook. And that hook I use to hang stuff. It's a really good thick wire and you can hang a lot of stuff on it. It's pretty useful to have. So I definitely hold on to all of those. I try not to waste anything, as we definitely are all about reusing stuff. All of the leather that we use is practically B-grade leather. Sometimes if we have a special project that we're doing, we'll go and get premium leather. But for a majority of my sheaths, a majority of this other stuff, this is leather that was used in somebody else's project. Tandy, Silver Leather Company, and they basically sell it as a scrap bag. But it works out really well, as you can see. Makes a very, very fine product. The only thing that we'll add on this, when everything is said and done, and this is an option, is a good leather sheen. And what a leather sheen is is this is like a clear coat for a car. When you put this on your leather, it's going to give it a shine. And that shine is pretty obvious. See, I've already got one here that I've done that has a sheen coat on it. You can see that shiny coat. That's a sheen coat. So if you want it to have that shine, you put that sheen coat on it. Otherwise, someone can just wax it, and the wax will actually act as a sheen coat for it. So, all right. Well, hopefully you got something out of that, and we'll start on our next project very shortly. Thank y'all so much for your patience. I appreciate each and every one of you out there. Don't give up. Just keep working at that leather. The more you work at it, the more practice that you have, the better you'll get at it. I believe in you. Have a great day.